was down, maybe. Yeah, no, it's good. What is going on, everybody? Take a minute. Everybody come in. It's a late one. It's like 10 o'clock, so not expecting a huge turnout or anything, but yo, I swear, every time I go live, this is when Chase decides to go crazy. Like, can you please chill? Okay. If I turn it down a little. So I want to just take a minute, let people come in, and then I'll get started. You know, I don't want to start too early and it goes from like 9 people to like 50 and everyone's like, what's going on? Josiah, what's going on? DoorDash Monster, what's going on? Chase, what's going on? Your boy, what's going on? Ethan, Ryan. I've been good, my man. How are you doing? I feel like my computer's been a little slow, so hopefully it can keep up. I know I'm going live during the fight, but like I don't really care about TikTokers and YouTubers fighting, to be quite honest. Like, I mean, it's interesting to see the outcome, sure. Like, I'll look that crap up though. I don't even know. I'm not even gonna look it up. I'll see it on like Sports Center on Instagram, just scrolling down. So I don't care to watch it, honestly. It's just dumb. Do you watch NBA basketball? Sometimes I do, but for the most part, like I'm so focused on the NFL 365 days a year, 24/7 that I don't have time to like divulge myself into everything else. Ashley, what's going on? Do you have any teams for NBA? I like the Celtics. Obviously, covering Boston. Gotta like the Celtics. But can I act to the Patriots' new numbers? Yeah. I'll probably make a video on that. You know, just kind of recapping the numbers and whatnot. I'm not exactly sure when, if I want to do that later when they're official, if I want to do it now. But yeah, I'll react to them. Have already some thoughts on some like Jalen Mills and all wearing number 2. So some interesting picks. I'm trying to think who else. Juwan Bentley, he's an interesting one. Brandon Bolden changes his number to 25. So definitely some interesting number switches. But have some people in here. So I think we'll just get started here with just kind of talking about OTAs, talking about, you know, what to expect from minicamp. Don't really want to talk too much about training camp because we're like more than a month away from that starting, you know, so we have a lot of time to cover that. We have a lot of time to talk about that right now. Let's talk about what just happened and what's ahead of us. You know, I think there's a lot to recap, a lot to talk about. I did recap day 1 and 2. I don't think I recapped day 3. Not too much went on the third day that was open to the media, in all honesty. So I was like, is it really worth getting around? Probably the biggest thing that happened day 3 was the unexpected return of Hightower. You know, unexpected, but still great surprise. But that was probably one of the big things. Obviously absent for day 3. So this would be 6/10, so June 10th. Obviously absent, you know, you had Cam Newton, no shock there. Sony Michel still absent. I think that's a notable one. I'm not sure if it's excused or not, but Sony Michel, we're talking about being potentially traded. Can he make the final roster? A very one-dimensional running back, and he's not at OTAs, and it's not a good look for him. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not a good look for Sony Michel. I mean, a lot of these guys haven't really, you know, necessarily been present in all of the OTA practices, but Sony Michel hasn't, I don't think, been at any. So definitely not a good look there. Also absent, Brandon Bolden hasn't been there. I actually talked to Brandon Bolden a little bit and watched some of his like live stream and whatnot. And it's just more of the factor that, hey, it's not mandatory. And because he's a veteran, he's not going to go. He'll be there likely for minicamp, but even a lot of people are asking him questions just in general about, hey, how's camp going? How's this guy? What's your thoughts on Mac Jones? And he's like, I can't answer that. I can't answer that because I have not been in the building. So that goes to show that someone like Brandon Bolden has not actually been in the building at all to meet any of the new guys, to know any expectations. Again, hasn't even met Mac Jones yet. So again, a guy who's also struggling to make this final roster, he's got to get in there. He's got to get in there quick. Nelson Aguilar wasn't there. Jonnu Smith's still not there. Jonnu Smith, though, I know is on a plane. By now, he should be in Massachusetts. So he'll definitely be there for minicamp. Lawrence Guy wasn't there. Byron Cowart wasn't there. Stephon Gilmore and Nick Folk both still not there. Anthony Jennings and Cameron McGrone were both present, but obviously did not participate. Probably the big takeaway was with Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry at one point did suffer an injury. From what we understand from Ian Rappaport, a scare, but a hit and a miss. Thank God for the Patriots. When you're paying someone that big money, you're just hoping that they won't, get hurt during this process and have to miss the beginning of the season or, come in late to the process. So, in general, he probably won't be there for minicamp. If he is there for minicamp, I think it just goes to show that the injury truly was nothing. But I think Belichick in general, too, will just want to take it a little bit more easy with him. He's going to be a big, big part to the Patriots 2021 season. Have him come back for training camp when you're really getting, the team divulged into the offseason programs and just getting ready for the regular season. Mini camp is just a more watered down version, I would say, of a training camp, but more in depth than OTAs. I'm trying to see exactly what happened. So he was running a route and then fell to the ground. He appeared to have an ankle injury, got checked out by the trainers. He did some jogging, and then he didn't rejoin the team in competitive drills, but he did get on the field when the team was practicing field goal blocking. So something interesting, something to monitor. I know that the final day of OTAs open to the media was a big passing day for these quarterbacks. So in 11 on 11s, Jared Stidham was your starting quarterback. He was 8 for 9. Mac Jones was 4 for 5. Hoyer was 8 for 9. 7 on 7s, the same order, but Stidham was 3 for 5. Jones was 2 for 3. Hoyer was 3 for 4. And Jared Stidham, like I said, easily the first quarterback beginning every single drills. They actually said that Hoyer was second, despite how this order went. Brian Hoyer was actually the second quarterback while Mac Jones was third. Wouldn't put too much stock into that. There was a potential scare with Jared Stidham. It did look like he jammed his finger at one point on an opposing helmet, I'm guessing. I don't know who it was, but they said it looks like he avoided some type of hand injury. Could have been like the same incident with Cam Newton. Would have really sucked to have both of those guys out. So thank God nothing happened. Mac Jones was Mac Jones. Like, he didn't do anything great, nothing that's going to wow you or anything like that, like day one, but wasn't to the point where he's struggling and you're questioning, like, oh God, where's this going? Is he going to be okay? Didn't have any mistakes in general, but the same thing that has happened throughout the rest of the OTA practices that we've seen, Mac Jones is just scared to let the ball rip, meaning that, hey, he's taking the easy checkdowns all the time, and he doesn't want to make those mistakes. And Mac Jones even said this himself. He's just getting very, very stuck in his head. He wants to be perfect. He wants to do everything perfect. He wants to be right, and he wants everything to be right. That's just who he is, personality-wise. And, you can't do that as a rookie. If you're Tom Brady and you've been in the league for over 20 years, sure, you can do that. But if you're a rookie like Mac Jones, you got to dial it down just a little bit year one, because you're going to get stuck in your head and it's really going to get in the way of your decision making. So, it's natural, but hopefully he won't let that get too much in the way, and he can overcome that as he gets more and more comfortable with the playbook. I know that reports were going around that, hey, Mac Jones is already very comfortable in the Patriots playbook. I personally don't believe it. I think the media really hypes things a lot, especially with Mac Jones, who's just a popular topic right now. People are trying to get views. I don't think he's as comfortable as people are trying to say. I don't think he's, fully divulged himself into the Patriots playbook. I don't. I really don't. I think that he's picking it up well. I think he's fine. I don't think he's struggling, but I don't think he's got it under wraps already. I think that's just hyping it up way, way, way too much. See what you guys are doing in here. Alrighty. Scroll back down in the chat. Where is it? Let me see. A little bit more about Mac Jones here. I said that he did have one really good rep where he got the offensive line right in the spot in order to pick up a blitz. So from what I am hearing about Mac Jones, he is able, at least from what we've seen in OTAs, to read a defense. I guess there was at one point, I think it was Nelson Aguilar, might have been in the second practice, the other, not this practice, but the one before, where Aguilar points something out to Mac Jones, a defensive scheme that, the Patriots defense was running that they were going up against, I believe in 11-on-11s. And Mac Jones says, I know, like he already knew the alignment. He already knew the switches he had to make. And that's something that he did really well in college. And that's something that's going to be super, super important as we transition to the NFL, is him being able to pick apart a defense. And that's going to come with time, of course. But, the faster he can get that under wraps, just in general, the faster I think he's going to progress and just be a better quarterback. And I think that's what he's doing. So far, we have seen that exact transition from college to OTAs. And again, OTAs, let's not get hyped. Whether he's doing great or whether he's doing bad, let's not get too hyped about everything. Again, it is just OTAs, but I think there's certain things that you show that still show that it's going to translate, and then some things that people just overhype way too much. I think his ability to read the defense, even if it is just OTAs, that's something that he can carry on if it's a real game, OTAs, minicamp, training camp. So I am confident within that. In him being able to make those offensive adjustments. And on that play in which he switched the offensive line to pick up a blitz, he ended up hitting Kendrick Bourne in stride. But again, he's still hesitant at times. If there's anything else in general talk about. So Isaiah Zuber, guys, I've been telling you probably maybe day one of OTAs. I think even before OTAs, Isaiah Zuber, the name to watch. Patriots wide receivers. Your boy hasn't let you down as of yet. Isaiah Zuber, definitely a guy we want to keep watching to make this final roster. So the play of the day belonged to both Isaiah Zuber and, interestingly enough, Christian Wilkerson. I don't think Christian Wilkerson makes the final team. At best, he'll make the practice squad. Isaiah Zuber, on the other hand, could definitely be a gadget piece for the Patriots offense. Zuber had a deep catch from Brian Hoyer on a post route, and Wilkerson also got a deep bomb from Jared Stidham with Jalen Mills in coverage. And then Gunnar Olszewski also had a long reception from Brian Hoyer. I'm hearing really, really good things about Isaiah Zuber. Like I said, just a really fast receiver, something that the Patriots are kind of looking for between Aguilar, Zuber, and Trey Nixon. I think that Zuber could definitely be a guy that does make this final roster, plugs in. It just depends on his development. Already has a year in the system. Could definitely be a surprising piece as we head forward. As for the tight ends, Devin Asiasi had a splash play today. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I've heard nothing about Keen. Keen this past season really didn't show much to me personally. Also to mention that he had one or two fumbles. If they're going to keep one of these two tight ends they drafted in the third round this past year, it's going to be Devin Asiasi. I truly believe that. He has the bigger upside. Yeah, Dalton Keene can maybe play fullback, but to what extent, we don't know. You don't just keep a guy because he can play fullback, because, yeah, maybe he can play fullback, but again, to what potential can he play that position? If it's not to an NFL standards level, then it doesn't matter if he can play it or not, because it's not going to be at a high enough level to transition into the NFL. Again, Devin Asiasi just has the higher upside. He's always had the higher upside in the receiving game and isn't a bad blocker. Maybe, Dalton Keene's a little bit of a better blocker, but I just think overall what you're going to get from Devin Asiasi is much better than a Dalton Keene. So I just think that he's going to overall be the guy who makes the final roster, but we'll just have to see. Like I said, though, he had the splash play today, hauled in a deep ball from Brian Hoyer down the seam, and he beat Kyle Duggar on the play. It's not easy to do, but he did it. Overall, too, I would say like probably the biggest standout with the OTAs. Well, I don't want to say the biggest, but one of the biggest has been Josh Uche. Josh Uche has looked, from what I've heard, phenomenal in these OTAs. He has a really good burst off the line. You know, he has the power to also beat strong offensive linemen. You know, a lot of times you either see defensive linemen, guys who set the edge, that either are powerful, meaning that they have the strength to be able to get past these offensive linemen with their strength, or they're fast so they can beat the guys just kind of based off of, you know, just their speed, you know, the way they get off their stance, the way they get off the defensive line, or just the line in general for the line of scrimmage. And I just think Josh Uche has both of those. He has the power and he has the speed, and speed at any position in the NFL is deadly. And Josh Uche is showing that he has both of those. You know, if he can stop the run, and I think he's going to be a key piece of this defense going forward, but always in the backfield, always making plays. And it's just each day he's getting better. They said that his leap from last year to now has been tremendous. It's a visible switch, like a light switch going on and off. So I think Josh Uche, if he can stay healthy, if he can show that he can also stop the run on top of getting to the quarterback, he's going to be a key piece of this defense in 2021. Josh Uche is probably my most favorite player to watch to make that second year leap. I really like Kyle Duggar also. It's easily between Duggar and Josh Uche. But from just what we've heard from Uche, I am beyond excited to see, you know, what he can do and the potential opportunities that he has in front of him. Alrighty. Give me 1 second. Pull this up. Going to answer some questions before we get into, you know, kind of some mini camp and some expectations. Take a couple of questions real quick. So drop some good questions, y'all, and you know, keep it more towards the OTAs. Like I want to kind of keep it on track about OTAs and whatnot. Not something like super off topic or whatever. So I keep seeing this question, and that's what happened to Isaiah Wynn. Nothing happened to Isaiah Wynn. Isaiah Wynn's just not at practice. It's as simple as that. You know, there's nothing more to go into. There's not drama. There's not a dispute going on. He's not there. You know, and it's not mandatory. I think league wide, you're seeing both between players and coaches kind of their feelings towards OTAs. I know that the Washington football team, they completely cut out OTAs, completely. And they just made a little bit longer mandatory minicamp. And it's not like, you know, I don't know how many days they had of OTAs, but let's say they had 10 OTAs. And the Washington football team took all those away. They didn't add 10 mandatory days to minicamp. They added, let's say, you know, maybe three, and then they gave them kind of just more time off. So it's not mandatory. A lot of the guys aren't going to show up. And if they do, maybe they'll only show up for a couple of days. Isaiah Wynn just didn't come at all. Honestly, I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not upset that Isaiah Wynn isn't there. You know what you're going to get from Isaiah Wynn at this point. You know what he's going to bring, but you know that he's also injury prone. You know, let's not throw him out there in OTAs and minicamp and training camp and preseason because let's be honest with ourselves. He's likely going to get injured, and you need him. You need Isaiah Wynn for the start of the season. He's a really big piece of this offensive line, and people don't realize that because he's constantly getting injured. If Isaiah Wynn didn't get injured, he would be getting much more credit. He was actually the best overall graded offensive lineman from that 2019 class. I think it was 2009. No, it was 2018. I think it was 2018 class. So I expect him to be there for minicamp, and then I expect him to be there for training camp. But I truly believe Belichick was okay with him not being there, just knowing how injury prone he is. Oh, that's not what I was looking for. Come on. So how is Nikhil Harry doing? We're lagging a little bit. So Nikhil Harry is Nikhil Harry. Nothing more to even have to say about that. Nikhil Harry's Nikhil Harry. Just by saying that, you should know what I'm talking about. But in general, he looks good. He looks good as a strong receiver, but he looks good as a strong receiver without pads, without contact, and going up against air. He's always looked good in this time. But you know what? No one's talking about him either, because you know what you're going to get with Nikhil Harry. You know that around this time, with no pads, no competition, no contact, just nothing, you're going up against air. You're going to look good. So he's not been talked about for that exact reason. He's not making any splash plays either. In general, you know what you're going to get with Nikhil Harry. I think everybody just keeps saying every single year, this is going to be the year Nikhil Harry pops off. And guys, I just think at some point you got to move on. He was a bust of a first round pick. That's just essentially what it is. Even if he can put up 500 yards, I would still say he's a bust of a first round pick. I wouldn't have even selected that kind of guy in the second round, to be completely honest with you. He doesn't work well in the short to intermediate routes. He is a terrible, terrible route runner with a terrible route tree. And that's not what the Patriots are. Great guy on and off the field. Well, not on the field as a player, but just a great guy, does everything he's asked for. But he never fit what the Patriots were doing. Never. Not from the moment they drafted him did he fit what New England wanted to do. Maybe if they tried to fit him in as a tight end, that would fit more of his playing style in New England. But they're trying to use him as a route runner in the short to intermediate routes, and that's not him. He's not fast. He can't run routes. He's someone who will just go down the field and tries to beat players with his strength. You're not going to see him get open. You're under pressure. You toss it up to Nikhil Harry. That's the guy you go to when you're under pressure and you're hoping that you're going to be able to make some type of play, because he can bring down the 50-50 ball. But he's not someone who's going to get open and someone that you're going to rely on time after time. Now, I do believe that he would have been more productive last season if it wasn't for Cam Newton constantly missing him and constantly, not going through his progressions. Because, yeah, Nikhil Harry was open more times than people realize, but still not enough to put up a productive season, not as a first-round pick, not even as a second-round pick. At this point, it's like cut your odds. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to see if he can build some type of, chemistry or relationship with Mac Jones, but I highly doubt it. I've only seen like a picture of Nikhil Harry in OTAs, and I don't expect much out of him at this point. So, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. So I would say to this one, give it 1 second as we're lagging a little bit. I need to put in the money to get a MacBook at this point. But I would say Nikhil Harry, you can say he's a bum. You can say Juwan Williams, from what we've seen, is a bum. But Isaiah Wynn, I don't think he's a bum. I just think it's injuries that essentially have gotten in the way for that one. Yeah, we're running pretty slow here. But, real quick, let's talk about these tight ends, okay? Let's talk about what these tight ends bring. Let's talk about what to expect. Obviously, Jonnu Smith has not been present. I hate to say it, but he has not been present. You would have loved to see him in these non-mandatory OTAs, at least for maybe one or two, maybe even the final OTA would have been nice, but he wasn't. He's going to be here for minicamp, like I said, but unfortunately, Hunter Henry did get injured, so this could just be a situation where, hey, we got to see Hunter Henry, and now we'll see Jonnu Smith, likely not both until training camp, though. But the Patriots were not waiting. The Patriots were not going to wait for Jonnu Smith to come along. They needed to get ready for minicamp. They needed to get ready for training camp, OTAs, all of that. And something big this season that they're going to be doing, which they have not done since what? Martellus Bennett and Gronk slightly, because Gronk was injured that year. So more so Gronk and Hernandez, was these two tight end sets, 12 personnel. Patriots don't really run that. They don't really run that unless they have two elite guys at tight end that they know that they can use. You rarely see two tight ends on the field in 12 personnel sets. Now, with Jonnu Smith being out, obviously the Patriots had to substitute somebody in at Jonnu Smith's position, going with Hunter Henry, because they want Hunter Henry to be comfortable. They want Hunter Henry to kind of get that feel on what these two tight end sets, 12 personnel, is going to be like. So Hunter Henry was going up with Devin Asiasi. I think they did a little bit of Matt Lacoste at times also, but those really have been the only two guys that have kind of switched into those 12 personnel sets. I can't really say how that's going or really what's coming out of those 12 personnel, two tight end sets, because nothing's really been said about it, other than, hey, they're trying to get guys like Hunter Henry comfortable and involved. And obviously, the second that Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry are in practice together, they'll be running both of those guys at the same time. But just goes to show that, hey, if you were hoping the Patriots would bring back two tight end sets, they're going to be doing it. 120%. They are going to be doing it. They're running it in practice. They're trying to get the offense used to it because, again, although Tom Brady is not under the helm anymore, under center, this team in general has not ran those two tight end sets, like I said, in a very long time. So not even the coaches are really used to running that at this point. So it's just kind of getting everybody used to the new kind of offensive switch, kind of the scheme fit. Not the scheme fit, but kind of just the scheme in general. So that's definitely something to watch. Something else I kind of want to talk about here is Chase Winovich. Now, Chase Winovich has been at, I would say, the majority. I don't know if he's been at all of them, but the majority of Patriots OTAs. And I've seen a few pictures of him not being at that classic DE, not always setting the edge. And one of my big things was, hey, the Patriots have so many edge rushers. How are they going to utilize all of these guys? And I think one of the big ways they're going to be able to do so is if the guys have versatility. Josh Uche, I think we're going to be seeing more at like a stand-up linebacker position. I definitely believe that we will be seeing more of that. And rather than him just always setting the edge, I think he did a little bit of that in a game or two in 2020. But I wasn't expecting much from Chase Winovich because Chase Winovich was never really much of a guy in coverage. But based off of some of these photos we're seeing, it does look like he is getting a little bit more of coverage time. And if he is able to excel more in coverage, then I'm confident with Chase Winovich staying on this team. Currently, I am kind of between myself on what's going to happen with Winnow. Now, guys, Winovich is one of my favorite players. I don't want to see Winovich go anywhere. I think that the Patriots need to utilize Chase Winovich more. It is not that Chase Winovich is a bad player. It is not that Chase Winovich cannot put up at least 10 sacks a season. It's that Belichick is not using Chase Winovich enough. And from what we've heard, it's kind of coming more back so to personality. And the personalities between Winovich and Belichick are just clashing. Now, whether you believe that or not, that's up to you. But I do believe that where there is smoke, there is definitely fire. So I do think something's definitely going on with Chase Winovich. And we have heard a lot that, hey, maybe they could use him as trade bait. Hey, the Patriots are going to have to cut down to, 53 players. And with the new rule for this offseason, it's going to go like after week 1 of preseason, you have to go down to 80 and then like 70 or 75, something like that. I forget what the exact numbers are. So, guys are going to have to be cut within a certain limited time. It's not going to be how we've seen the past, years. I don't even know how long, where all of these guys just get cut at once. So for me, Chase Winovich is a guy that, I definitely think that he has the talent, and it's not that he's going to be straight up cut. He either makes a team or gets traded, but I'm hoping that if he shows some more versatility outside of being able to set the edge, that he is going to be able to make this final team. And honestly, here you can see him going up against, a Hunter Henry. Now, I don't think Chase Winovich should go up against tight ends or anything like that, but maybe they're going to use him more in as an edge rusher, but sometimes they try to do more of him dropping back into coverage, kind of to try to fold the quarterback or whatnot, because in general, most times you're going to see Chase Winovich as a defensive end, but we even saw from time to time, hope we could see a little bit more this season, but from time to time, Chase Winovich dropping back into coverage. And even one of the times this past season when he did, he ended up getting an interception. So I also kind of want to talk about these two guys right here, J.J. Taylor and Harvey Langi. Now, Harvey Langi is obviously a long shot to make this roster. Or I don't want to necessarily say a long shot, but he's far and out from making this roster. I think it's a little bit more than a long shot, but he's definitely not certain to make this roster. He's familiar with the Patriots and familiar with the Patriots system, which I think has a lot of things going for him. But I think the problem is that we're so stacked. Raekwon McMillan, Chase Winovich, Josh Uche, Kyle Van Noy, Dante Hightower, Matt Judon, Jawan Bentley, Therese Hall, Anthony Jennings. Like, we can go on and on with the amount of linebackers. They are not going to keep all of those guys, but we have seen a lot, and I mean a lot of Harvey Langi, with highlights and pictures in general. He's just been all over the field. They're using him a lot in coverage too, which I am a little bit surprised about. They're using him so much in coverage because, hey, he is mainly a special teams guy. Now, this past season, he put up career numbers defensively with the New York Jets because, hey, he was actually finally given the opportunity to play on defense. Because, again, usually he's just mainly a special teamer. Now, I think that is potentially something that can get him on the roster is his ability as a special teamer, especially with somebody like Matthew Slater, likely going to be retiring after the season. Hightower, I would say Hightower, Devin McCourty, and Slater, 3 guys the Patriots need to have a future plan for, because very well this could be all 3 of their last seasons here in New England. So Harvey Langi maybe is kind of a long stem, just kind of solution for the Patriots in helping replace a Matthew Slater, but also, again, has that ability on defense. Nothing crazy, or not going to have him be all pro, not a Kyle Van Noy, but I definitely think can definitely help you out with times, just still a little bit raw. But like I said, they're familiar with him. So I definitely think Harvey Langi, he's a guy to watch. And I told you this when they signed him. So definitely keep watching Harvey Langi as we enter mandatory minicamp and especially training camp. I think one of the best ways Langi is going to make this final roster is by preseason. The preseason games, we're going to have 3 of those. Langi, I think, is going to get a good amount of time in them. And if he can show something defensively, I think he can make this final roster. As for J.J. Taylor, I made a whole video on him, so I'm not going to waste your guys' time and go off completely, because you guys can just go watch that video if you would like. But J.J. Taylor is going to be one heck of a piece for the Patriots this upcoming season. And I know a lot of people, either feel that, I'm not hyping him up enough, or I'm hyping him up too much. But I do think that J.J. Taylor is in for a big season. Am I saying he's RB1? No. Am I saying he's RB2? No, I think he definitely fight for RB2, but I'm not saying he's RB2. Ramondre Stevenson isn't going to get, I think, too much playing time, if even much at all, this upcoming season. And I do think he'll still get some, but definitely not a lot, as he is a rookie. But JJ Taylor already had that rookie, redshirted year. The Patriots, Belichick, they're not going to redshirt him for a second year in a row. He's going to get on the field. He's going to get playing time. And luckily enough for JJ Taylor, throughout the majority of these OTAs, he's been like the only running back. It's been him and Tyler Gaffney. And Tyler Gaffney likely not making this team. JJ Taylor very likely going to. So they've been utilizing JJ Taylor very, very much in really every single situation you could possibly ask for. As a running back, as a receiving back, and as a pass blocking running back. And he has excelled very, very well at all of those. I mean, he can be a 3-down running back for the Patriots. And I think that's something that, they need, something that they need to utilize. Obviously, I think Damien Harris can be that, but we haven't seen enough from him to be able to say for sure that he can be that. We haven't really seen too much from him from a pass catching standpoint. Sony Michel obviously isn't going to be that guy. Rex Burkhead out the door. James White on a 1-year deal. So I definitely think they want to get JJ Taylor more involved and comfortable for when those guys are going to departure from the team. So with that being said, I do want to talk real quick. Oh, that is a very, very weird shot up on the screen here. But I do want to talk about real quick, just not Mac Jones. We already talked about Mac Jones, of course. But I want to talk about this guy over on the right side. Now, nope, not Josh McDaniels, but a little bit more to the left in Cam Newton. So Cam Newton did suffer an injury. I do want to discuss that just a little bit real quick. What does that mean for the team? What does that mean going forward? I don't think I actually released the video yet. I made a whole video the day Cam Newton got injured talking about what this means for Mac Jones. So I don't think I released that actually. Oh my God. I still got to release that video. But Cam Newton injured his hand. Supposedly it was when a mat was thrown at him and that's when he got injured. I know that there's rumors going around that he got into a fight with his brother and he decided to, wait it out and say he got injured in camp. That's not what happened. Like, enough of the conspiracy theories here, guys. Like, he got injured in practice. That's what it was. He's not going to be at minicamp. He wasn't there for the last OTAs, obviously. They want him to recover. Cam Newton, he's going to be QB1 week 1. Unless he really cannot throw, he's going to be QB1 week 1 of the 2021 regular season. And I truly do stand by that. I firmly believe that Cam Newton is going to. I don't believe Mac Jones is going to have some flash of development randomly that sparks the Patriots having to throw him in week 1. But what does it essentially, mean? He's not going to be there for minicamp. Everybody is expected to be there unless they are dealing with some type of injury, which for the most part, nobody should be really outside of Cam Newton and a couple of others. So offensively, they should have a lot of these guys back. What does that mean for Cam Newton? One of the big things that concerns me with Newton being out is his throwing mechanics. Now, I got into, I don't want to say an argument, but maybe a discussion rather with somebody in the comments earlier today who said that Cam Newton excelled at the short to intermediate routes passing, and he did exceptionally well within those areas. And that's not true. That's not true at all. I'm not sure, if you're not watching football and you're kind of just trying to hype up Cam Newton, but Cam Newton does not excel within these short to intermediate routes. And a big part of that comes from his mechanics. His mechanics are terrible. His mechanics are off. And that has always been, essentially always been Cam Newton. He's never been a great passer, but definitely things have not gotten better for him as time has gone on. And you can't make the argument that they have. I would say the first couple of weeks of this past season, he definitely looked a lot better in the passing game compared to after he got COVID and kind of had to, reset his entire body. But I think a big part of that was, hey, from the moment he stepped into New England, they were working on his throwing mechanics. That was their big thing with Newton was, hey, you're not throwing the correct way. We need to work on that with you. And I think that they got that jammed into his body. And he was doing that time after time. So he got used to throwing the way that the Patriots were teaching him, which helped out his throwing mechanics. Then after, a couple of weeks of him not throwing because he wasn't in practice due to the virus, he went back to his muscle memory on how he normally would throw, and that screwed him over completely. That was one of the big reasons that I think his passing went down. Is it the only reason? No, do not get me wrong. But I think a big reason that his passing game struggled and his mechanics and just the way he threw the ball looked a lot worse after he came back with the virus was because his muscle memory kicked in rather than what he had been working with New England and the coaching staff, Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick, um, Jed Fish, the former Patriots quarterback coach who left this offseason, and he ended up going back to, again, what he's used to doing. Cam Newton just leans back way too much as if he's going to let the ball rip down the field when it's just a 5 to 10 yard pass. You can't do that. It's either you're going to throw the ball way over the guy's head, or you're going to do what Cam Newton constantly does from what we've seen last year and throw the ball at receivers' feet. You can't blame that on the receivers. That's completely on Cam Newton. And we didn't really see that when it came to the deep passes. When it came to the deep ball, Cam Newton did perform really, really well. You know, I think that's where he's excelled, and that's where he's always excelled in his career. But especially if you want to look at his time with the Patriots this past season, that is where he's excelled with his accuracy, was bombing the football down the field to his receivers. And then when it came to, again, these short to intermediate routes, that's when it was either overthrown, that's when the ball was just not on point, not on target, and the balls were also at receivers' feet. So that's kind of my big concern here with Cam Newton, not being in practice until training camp, which, again, guys, that's over a month away. Is his throwing mechanics are going to be thrown off again, and he is going to be starting from point one because his muscle memory is going to kick back in. Now, hey, it is better for this not to happen during the season. It's better for this to happen before the start of training camp, so they still have time to get it back on track, but still not your what you're looking to have happen. It's not ideal. And that gives the potential for really any other quarterback to come in and shine, whether that's, Jared Stidham, whether that is Mac Jones, or whether that's Brian Hoyer. So definitely something to watch there. So we did get a don't know. Do want to give you a shout out. Scroll down. Alrighty. So I think all the safeties on the Patriots have been very high IQ ones and have been very much dynamic roles to fulfill as the play development or the play develops than other teams. Hold up, I gotta see this closer. Much dynamic roles to fulfill as the play develops than other teams. What's your thoughts? This year, veteran players have a must. I am, in my opinion. Also, merch looks fire. Hey, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, shout out to Neil Ray. For purchasing some of the merch. Like always, if you guys do want to get some merch, you guys can. Speaking of which, we'll roll it after. We'll roll it after the donation. But hey, man, I appreciate for the donation. I appreciate you for being here, and I appreciate you for going the extra mile, supporting me, supporting the channel. Man, seriously means a whole lot. And it's people like you who are just helping me make this, a full-time job. So I really, really do appreciate that. And you believing in me. I agree with what you're saying. I definitely agree with what you're saying. With the Patriots, they always want guys in their secondary, even linebackers, but especially secondary, especially guys who are playing, more in the backfield. If you're looking at free safety and strong safety, they want those guys to be able to control the rest of the secondary, the entire secondary, whether that's each of the corners, whether that's the strong safeties next to them, whether that's communicating with the linebackers. They want those guys to be smart and be able to read what is going to be coming at them. And they've had that. And you look at who has succeeded in New England. Those guys have always had high IQ. Kyle Duggar, coming out of the draft, high IQ player. He's showing that, and he's looking good. He's looking like a potential future player for New England. Maybe, dare I say, New England hit on a draft pick. Knock on wood. Maybe he did. But you also look at Patrick Chung. You also look at Devin McCourty. Other guys who have also been very high IQ players. And I think that's why the Patriots, you don't really see them going out and drafting safeties too much. A lot of the times, Chase, can you stop? Okay, thank you. A lot of times you see them going the route of trades, or you see them going the route of free agency. And that's kind of how they get their guys, because they like their veteran guys in their secondary. They like guys who are proven. They like guys who have seen, different things in the NFL. And I mean, especially that's why they kept Devin McCourty and they kept Patrick Chung for so long, is because those are guys that were in their system for so long. They knew what to expect. They had a high IQ, and those are the guys that New England really likes to keep. They really like to keep those types of guys within their secondary. And yeah, just overall dynamic guys. The Patriots in general don't like guys who are one-dimensional. They like dynamic players. If you look at even recently, Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills is your classic Patriot, a guy who, hey, he didn't do anything great while he was with Philly. He didn't. He had a better season at safety, but he never did anything spectacular. Not a Pro Bowler, anything like that. Despite that, the Patriots give him more money than he likely would have gotten anywhere else, and they give him a 4-year deal. They did that because he's your classic Patriot. Jalen Mills is your classic Patriot. He has played at linebacker. He has played at both right and left cornerback. He's played in the box. He's played in the slot. He's played at free safety. He's played at strong safety. He's played pretty much everywhere on defense rather than the defensive line. That's your classic Patriot, and that is like the definition of being dynamic. Adrian Phillips, a dynamic player. The Patriots signed him as a veteran guy. He was a main special teamer, played a huge key on defense, playing close to the line of scrimmage, hybrid linebacker, playing in the box, and he did really well in the system. Devin McCourty, same thing. This past season, it goes really underrated, but Devin McCourty didn't only play free safety, but he also actually played cornerback at times. The Patriots don't want one-dimensional secondary players. Kyle Duggar is not a one-dimensional secondary player either. He actually played more free safety in college, which is why some people are saying, hey, is he going to switch to free safety this offseason and next season and kind of take over that role for Devin McCourty at some point? I do think that he played really well at strong safety. He's getting more comfortable there. So he has that versatility to play free safety, but I think that he's going to stay at strong safety and take over that Patrick Chung role. And I think Jalen Mills will probably be that Deron Harmon role and then potentially take over for Devin McCourty once Devin McCourty retires. The Patriots, again, they want to get these guys in the building before these guys take off. That's just the Patriots. That's just what they like to do, and it's boded well for them. Oh, yeah, he's not coming up here anymore, y'all. I said this to you before. Every time we go live, Chase makes a ruckus. But Patriots like to get these guys in the building early, and I think with Devin McCourty very likely being in his last year, that's where this Jalen Mills signing likely comes from. So, again, man, I really appreciate you. I appreciate the donation. Whew. Making sure I didn't miss anything. Joey, what is going on? I appreciate you for the donation. I appreciate you for being here, and I appreciate you for going that extra mile, supporting me and supporting the channel, of course. You said, yo, Tom_Servo from Discord. Hey, from Discord. Yo, dude, what the heck? From Discord, fan since 2019. So you've been here for a while. Okay. Yo, Joey goes off. He goes off in the Discord. When I tell you that he has broken some of the news before I've even got to see it from any other of my sources, I don't say that lightly. Yo, he gets things out fast on Discord, which is another reason why I'm saying, like, look, if you want to support the channel, $10 a month. $10 a month, it's all it's going to cost you. It's equivalent to whether you're getting Netflix or Hulu or or HBO or what the heck? Or HBO or any of that. Oh my God. Can you chill? Is that cool with you? All right, thanks. But again, $10 a month, like any other streaming service, and you get benefits like exclusive content. You get benefits to the Discord with me and other Patreon members. People like Joey, who, guys, we talk about life, and Joey can even talk about some of this if he wants to also, because he's been a Discord member for a while now. But we talk about life. We talk about football. You know, if you have questions, I'll answer them. Other fans are going to answer them too within the Discord chat. And then there's people like Joey who, as soon as news, rumors, anything happen, they type it in the Discord and you get notified of that. So, hey, I'm just saying, you want to become a Patreon member? Go ahead, link in all of my videos to go ahead and become a Patreon member. Yeah, you're not coming up here to make videos with me anymore. Nope. He runs right up. So I got a dog named Chase, right? For those who don't know. The real ones know, but some still don't, understandably. Some people are new here. So when I come up here to my studio to record, Chase comes running up. Like I'm dead serious. I cannot stop him. Like the dude darts right through the door before I can close it. And I don't want to be that guy and like, you know, kick him out. But he's just making a ruckus at this point. So yeah, we're gonna have to throw Chase out. All love, but we gotta do what's best for the quality of these videos. But yo, huge shout out to you, Joe. I really, really, really do appreciate you. I appreciate you for the donation. NC Binks. I'll leave that there. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for the donation supporting the channel. Y'all can read the dono. And that's that. That's a quality donation. That's a quality donation. All right. Just trying to see if there's anything else going on in the chat. So Sam here, I'm gonna guess, is a Seahawks fan. So I enjoy watching the Seahawks. I love watching Russell Wilson. You know, outside of like the Patriots and our quarterbacks, easily one of my favorite quarterbacks in this league is Russell Wilson. So dynamic, such a great player, such a great guy on and off the field. Easily, just one of my favorite players in the NFL, period. Since the Seahawks are better than the Patriots, Dwayne Eskridge is a future MVP. You don't know what you're talking about. Obviously not responding to me, responding to, I think, another conversation in the chat. But I think the Seahawks are a great team. I don't know if I would say they're better than the Patriots at this point. If you're going to compare the Seahawks from, you know, the Seahawks last year and the Patriots last year, yeah, they're better. But I think on paper right now, you compare the teams, and I would say the Patriots are better. They don't have a great quarterback at the helm right now. I think there's a lot of question marks for the Patriots at quarterback. If they had Tom Brady here, it would be easily no dispute, no question. But because we have question marks at quarterback, that's always going to be what kind of holds the Patriots back. I've always liked Dwayne Eskridge. I wanted the Patriots to draft him, but I'm also somebody who believes that you shouldn't get ahead of yourself. You shouldn't, you shouldn't manifest that kind of stuff. Well, I mean, I can understand people manifesting it, but trying to say that just because your team drafted a player, he's going to be all pro, Hall of Famer, like, don't be that guy. You know what I'm saying? I like Dwayne Eskridge, but let's see the development first. Let's see how he's performing in camp and training camp and all that stuff before we, talk about him. The transition from college to the NFL is huge and it goes super underrated. It's not just the system you're going to. It's the transition in general. Also, some players just can't make that no matter how good or bad you are in college. And I just think overall the Seahawks defense is just is busted. Like, it has so many questions. It was busted last year, had some key departures. I don't know if they made enough free agency additions. Russell Wilson's not happy because it doesn't have any of, anyone to help him offensively, literally at all. The offensive line sucks. The receivers, I don't want to say they suck, but could definitely still use a body there to help out, but especially that offensive line. So I just think overall on paper, the Patriots are a better team. And if they didn't have Russell Wilson, it would be a no-brainer. So this is actually a good question. My thoughts on the Redskins. So this isn't even about the Patriots right now. Again, if you guys do have a question, you can drop it. We'll end this one off soon. We're about just getting to the end of the live stream here. I do have a video I still need to edit and get out to you guys about the training camp battles, or mini camp battles rather, for you guys to watch coming Monday, or come Monday. The videos, I want to try to drop it maybe tonight. We'll see how that goes. But my thoughts on the Redskins. Redskins, super underrated. Super, super underrated. I think that, we look at the Redskins and it's kind of like looking at the Bengals. They've been terrible for so long that trying to believe that they're going to be a good team is like a pipe dream. You're like, yeah, okay. Like, even the Browns, some people even still are like, it's the Browns. Like, are we really gonna? It's like, no, they're a really good team right now. This isn't the Browns that could barely win a game for multiple seasons. So, and I think the Redskins with Ron Rivera, great coach. I think they finally got their coach to really further their franchise. Trying to think who their quarterback is. I know they have Fitzmagic, but like outside of that, they need to get the future guy in there. Definitely, if they want their franchise to take off. Fitzmagic, a good quarterback, but definitely they got to get that franchise guy in there at some point. Really, really, really good offensive weapons they've added. Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Adam Humphries they added. And then defensively, like, easily one of the best defensive lines in football. Like, they added some really, really, really nice additions. I think that the Redskins defense is actually super scary. I know we play them in preseason, so it doesn't matter, but I'm actually kind of happy we don't play them in the regular season, just because, like, people don't talk about it enough. Or the Washington football team now. Yeah, they're not the Redskins anymore. They're the Washington football team. I know that name is actually going to be changed too. They haven't picked what it's going to be called, but they're not going to be sticking to the Washington football team. I mean, they need to figure out the name at some point. But yeah, overall, the Washington football teams do just have a really good team from top to bottom. But it's all going to be dependent on how the quarterback plays. I think they have a decent secondary. I think that the secondary is going to be a little bit on what holds them back. It's not a bad secondary, but nothing crazy. But the defensive line and the passers that they have is so insane that, they're always going to be a competitive team with that defense that they got. But overall, guys, I think that we are going to end this one off. Before we do that, though, I do want to talk real quick for anybody that would like to buy some merch. I've gotten a lot of compliments on the merch so far. Some of you have already bought it. Huge shout out to you guys. Like always, if you do buy the merch, you will actually get a shout out in my next video if you send me a picture or video of you rocking said merch. So why don't you guys go ahead right now, check it out. Before we do hop into today's video, though, I do want to give you guys a little update that your boy has decided to update his merch. We do still have all of the old stuff, along with some really good new ideas that I've been working on for the past couple weeks, and more ideas will be continue to be added. Like always, if you do buy merch, send me a picture of you rocking it. I will include you in the next video. Like always, link in the description box below. But yes, sir, that is the merch. Like I said, guys, link to the Patreon, link to the merch. It's in every single one of my videos always. So if you guys are looking for that, go ahead and check it out. But again, I do appreciate all of you guys for watching, everybody that donated, everybody that supports the channel. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out the content if you haven't already. Leave a big like on the videos, share it on Facebook, share it on social media. Really, really helps me in the videos out a ton if you guys do that. So would mean a lot to me if you guys are looking to help your boy out. But like always, I appreciate y'all. Gonna try to get a video out tonight. We'll see how it goes. But like always, I'm Patriots Global.